Welcome to another episode of Visionary Ventures. Today we're joined by Kanji Low, a distinguished business coach and entrepreneur known for his innovative approaches in social development and technology. Kanji, recognized as one of the top coaches by prominent publications and a dynamic speaker on global stages, brings a wealth of experience in AI, blockchain, and corporate IT. Join us as we delve into his journey from tech enthusiast to influential coach, exploring how he transforms businesses and lives worldwide. First of all, thanks so much, Kanji, for being here. It's a pleasure to connect with you and to host you on this episode.
Yep, likewise, Carl. Thank you for having me on your show. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to where this conversation will go. Like with all conversations, man, like I feel as though there's a certain flow to it. So I'm excited to see what we'll unpack.
Thanks so much and looking forward. Let's get started. So, how has your background in technology influenced your approach to business coaching?
Yeah, so I started as a project manager in a large IT firm and I was working there for like 6 years. So with a lot of influence from industries like energy, insurance, even retail, and working with large projects and with large firms, it really helped me just see things on a more, not just on a macro level, but also on a micro level as well. So having a look at things from both a technological standpoint as well as a business standpoint, I was able to have a look at things and be really solution based
Mhm.
towards how I do things in business now. And it wasn't easy. Like with any venture, and you probably know this as well, Carl, is like it's not easy to start, right? A business where, especially if you've been in the corporate world for a long time. Um,
100%.
yeah, most people will tell you, "Oh, do this one," or drop shipping, or it might be coaching, it might be consultancy, whatever it is. Right? They'll tell you that that's the thing. But for me, I had to find my way, right? And from being in IT and leveraging all the skill sets like being solution based, stakeholder management, teamwork, communication, I took all of that and really put those values into my own business as well. And I feel like those values and those skill sets are quite essential because if you don't have those skill sets, it's kind of hard to make a conversation. Even before all of this, I was very shy. I'm a very like shy person or
Okay.
introverted person. But now I've just
A
been able to
shy person
practice.
who turned into a public speaker. That's
Exactly.
interesting. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna dig into that.
Yeah, so I would always like stay quiet whenever like my friends would say stuff, or like if someone wanted to say something in a meeting, I would always like just stay in the back corner and not say
Hmm.
anything and be quite reserved. But yeah, just being in, delving into self development, meeting people all around the world, especially during COVID time in 2020. I put myself out there and started filming a lot more videos about myself, and now I'm speaking in public. So, yeah,
And talking about that, what was the mental shift that happened for you to flip that scenario?
yeah. For me, Carl, the thing that really shifted my perspective when it came to speaking and just putting yourself out there a lot more is that if I were to just stay where I am or stay in my own frame in any conversation or presenting something or having a business meeting,
Mhm.
I'm not going to get anything out of it if I don't do anything about it or I don't say anything. So the mental shift for me was, what do I have to lose if I say this? What do I
Yeah.
have to lose if I don't put myself out there? And I feel like a lot of the time, and this is a crazy stat, by the way, you can Google this as well. 75% of people in the world are scared of speaking in public,
Hmm.
which is crazy. And I fell into that category as well. But because of the fact that I really took that mindset shift and embodied it, I started to speak more. I started to put myself out there a lot more. I started to be that person first before things started happening in my reality.
It's very interesting what you're saying because I myself, I am a sociable person. I enjoy being around people and all of that. However, I'm a very calm and person, and I tend to listen more than I speak. And
Mm,
public speaking per se is not one of my forte. And I remember back in school and university, whenever we were presenting stuff, I was like doing the basics, like tack, tack, tack,
mm,
and getting
mm,
off the stage, too much
yeah,
spotlight.
mm,
The way you're putting things into perspective is really interesting because you said, what do I have to lose? But for me, why am I putting myself in the spotlight? I had the total opposite approach to it.
mm,
I was thinking about all the things that I can gain
mm,
because I had a drive, which is my vision, my
mm,
objectives, and all of these. I use them as a drive because I
mm,
know what I want to achieve and where I want to go. And I
mm,
said to myself, yeah, I will lose, of course, but this is what I
mm,
have to gain.
yes.
And that drove me to be in the spotlight, talk more,
Mm,
be out there.
mm,
And consultancy also helped because you have to talk with a lot of people, different people, coach big businesses and help them navigate. Especially when I started was back in COVID days, so it was really challenging.
mm,
So I truly can relate to your story, and I like how you took the initiative and you've done it. But I'm interested to know now, how do you handle
mm.
setbacks and maintain a positive mindset in challenging situations?
Yeah, I feel like it with everything it takes reps. You need to fail enough to realize that every failure is not really a setback, but it's a redirection. Um, I can share this quote with all your viewers, and whenever we get failure, it's a redirection from the creator, right? Whoever you deem the creator to be. And that redirection pulls you towards the path that you're meant to be on. And I've failed so many times. I failed the ventures way before even now, like when I was doing side hustles while maintaining a 9 to 5 job, selling Air Jordan shoes on eBay, doing Uber before Uber came to Australia, teaching, teaching English, especially for cash, multiple different jobs, and even running a restaurant. I've been in a lot of industries and I failed a lot to realize that those were all reps for me to be where I am right now. And those setbacks stack. They stack as your lessons, they stack as your redirection or your path. And it's like the path is like a jigsaw puzzle, right? And each time you're looking at the image, what does that image look like for you? You know, for some people, it might be speaking on stage. For other people, it might be having an amazing podcast. For other people, it might be a celebrity, singer, right? Business owner, right? Billionaire, right? Whatever the status is, right? That picture or that image, there are just certain jigsaw pieces that you need to fill out and to complete for that to happen. And you can say that each jigsaw piece is a failure, right? Is a challenge that you need to go through for yourself. And that's what I've taken on into my own life. I've realized that, no matter how much I failed, no matter how much I've, just been in the dark, during the middle of the night, I've come to a point where I know that that's necessary, right? Even though I don't want it at the time. Majority
Yeah.
of us when we're owning businesses, especially if you started for the first time, you feel that you feel like, oh, like I don't know if I can get out of this, but deep down that the only way is through, and it's just
And
not giving up.
if you look back at your life, like I know you were a bartender at some
Mm.
point.
Yes.
So Kenji the bartender, if you try to see the mental stage or where you were and currently, how did you evolve?
Mm.
What is really the difference in the mental focus and shift between these two kanjis?
Mm. So the Kanji that was the bartender, it's just a complete state of being, right? That version would not know about self development. That version would probably look at himself and just be like, "Oh, don't really know what I'm doing." Trying to get through, day to day, and yeah, just living life on autopilot, I would
Mhm.
say. So like that version, yeah, it was just I remember in those moments where I was just like, oh, like I'm just doing this to make ends meet, to ensure I get something, or I'm trying this thing. But yeah, now again, it's just different states of being. Like the mental shift is like you have to really hone into what the image looks like. And at that time, I didn't have that image. Whereas now there's like a focus or an intention with everything that I do. And you can say that we're consciously creating every single day, whether we realize it or not. Like whatever it is that we're doing, we're consciously creating that reality. It might be today you're like, oh, I really want to feel like amazing and feel abundant, and that's your default state of being, and that's what you'll see. You'll see everything that's abundant. Some days you might be angry with a certain meeting or a certain client or maybe a stakeholder, and then in that split moment, you'll see everything as dark, and everything is red because of that anger. And it really shades that perspective because your perspective is your reality, right? So, yeah, that's what I would say would be the difference between that version and this version.
It's great that you're aware and mindful and conscious about the shifts and where you were and where you are at, because I believe this is what truly defines your current state and what's upcoming as well. Talking about you, what kind of physical practices and fitness activities do you do on a daily or weekly basis just for you to maintain that energy and focus?
Yeah, so I do two things. First thing is meditation or silence. So I sit in silence for about 5 to 10 minutes a day, just observing
Is
thoughts.
this physical or it's more mental and spiritual?
Uh, Physical in the sense that you have to sit up and
Okay.
dedicate your body to it. That's what I would say.
So calming
With
the body and
calming the body,
recentering.
yes,
Okay.
and recentering, yeah. And obviously, you'll see thoughts on a mental level too. And the second thing would be exercise. Whether it's going to the gym, boxing, or going for a walk. I feel like that really allows your you to really honor the temple that you've been given, because you've been given a temple and you've got to honor certain things. So yeah, that's what I do on a daily basis to keep myself grounded. Even in between meetings, I would go out of the room, come back in. If I need to, I'll stand up, to really bring myself back to this present moment. But yeah, those are the two main practices.
Nice. And how do you balance between work and wellness?
Yeah. I actually have dedicated slots in my schedule.
I do
Uh,
that
f-
too, by the way.
you do that too? Yeah, nice. And I feel like the reason why I do it, and it's so beautiful because it actually gives you a lot of freedom, because you know when to do stuff and when not to do stuff and when to schedule. Even with time with my partner, I would schedule that in my calendar as well. Reason why is because it's not like disrespecting her time, but it's more so creating space for both of us so I can be 100% present with the person that I'm with. And I feel like
Would you
that
turn off
practice,
your phone and laptop and all means of
yeah,
communications
I would turn my
once you're
phone
with
upside
her?
down. Yeah, yeah, I'll turn my phone upside down. Like if I'm at the dining table, I'll just turn it upside down, and yeah, I'll just be like that.
When she heads to
Like
the bathroom, you're gonna peek to your screen,
a
yeah?
little bit, a
Yeah,
little
I know you're
bit.
doing it. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's the thing is like just really keeping that regiment time and scheduling wellness in that as well. And yeah, we don't give enough time to ourselves throughout the day. So I feel like if you schedule that, you'll find out
So
you actually have a
on a
lot more
daily
time.
basis, you're working out for how long? Like you do it every
45
day,
minutes. Yeah,
every day,
45
45
minutes.
minutes. That's your
Yep.
you
That's
time.
my that's my me time, 100%.
Perfect. And what role does nutrition play in your overall physical health strategy as well?
Yeah. So at the moment, obviously, when you're traveling, it's very hard to balance the diet. But whenever I'm back, in my home in Melbourne, I would tend to look at the macros of protein and carbs and also veggies, and it's just a mixture of all of that. Like I would eat, certain chicken, or I'd eat like a bit of beef, and then chuck on some rice or some noodles, and eat as clean as I can. There'll be one day in the whole week where I would dedicate maybe a little bit to sweets because I'm a bit of a sweet tooth.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, like I feel like when you're traveling, it's a little bit hard to stick to that because there's so much you want to experience. But on my usual day to day routine, that's what
So
I
so
normally do.
there's no specific diets. Like you're eating regular food,
I'm
right?
just I'm just eating regular food. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like you don't focus on eating a lot of veggies, salads, and proteins and all of that. You're just eating
No.
noodles,
Yep.
rice,
Yeah.
regular stuff.
100%. Yeah, it's actually quite simple with nutrition. It's like if you eat more than your normal level. So my level is about like 2,300 calories per day. If I eat more than that,
So
I
you're
know I'm going to
counting.
gain.
So you're counting your macros.
Just in the mind, just in
And
my mind, not
okay,
actual.
okay,
Yeah, yeah,
like keeping track of your daily consumption of calories a bit.
100%. Yes.
Being mindful of that
Mm-hmm.
works good for you. Okay, good to
Mm.
know that. Moving a bit towards something that you like, can you describe how your spiritual or philosophical beliefs impact your professional ethics?
Mm. Yeah. So I've grown up to be I think I grew up in a very Buddhist cultured family. So
Just
go for it.
give us a
Yes.
bit of context. Where are you
Sure.
originally from? Where do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
live?
Yeah.
What do you do? Please.
100%. Yeah. So I'm Malaysian Chinese with a bit of Japanese. So my dad's heritage is from Okinawa. We moved to New Zealand, and I was born in New Zealand. So I was in New Zealand for about 11 years. And then I moved to Australia when I was 11. So growing up, obviously, my mum had a Buddhist background, right? So learning about Taoism, learning about Buddha, I sort of learned the art of cultivation, right? So cultivating, going and praying to your creator every single week. And I realized that that could actually be given to myself as well, because we're really cultivating ourselves too as we, give to the creator. So through learning about Taoism, Buddhism, there was a period where I didn't really follow any religion. Even now, I don't really follow any religion. I believe all religions exist. I started to delve into meditation, right? I was just scrolling for meditations on YouTube, and I found Dr. Joe Dispenza, right? If you know Dr. Joe,
Yeah,
and
everyone is
through
starting that way.
yeah, so for me, I started meditation through him, and I realized that what I've been doing this whole time when I was a kid is I've been doing meditation. I've been really cultivating
Yeah,
and being
without you
aware of
really
yes,
knowing. Yeah, you
exactly,
were doing it
exactly,
by
yeah.
default.
Yeah, so from there, I realized like everything is really a thought, right? And there are so many different frequencies, and each person is a frequency in their own, and it's not who they are, but where they are. And when I say where, it's where in that level of consciousness that they are. So we're not really dealing with people. We're dealing with frequencies and their level of consciousness. So, how that's been played into business is that I've really started to enjoy conversations in business, enjoy working with clients. If a client is stressed and they come to me on a coaching call, like straight away, the energy goes from here or down here up to where I am, right? Because of the fact that I can feel those frequencies, I can feel where people are at, ask certain questions, and that has really helped in a business sense because it's all about emotional intelligence. It's realizing because frequencies are feelings at the end of the day, right? It's just realizing like how do I navigate this feeling that is currently here right now between the person that's opposite from me and me, which is
Hmm.
ultimately me at the end of the day. But to get to that point, yeah, like I think everyone's gone through it, especially during COVID time, is like a mass spiritual awakening, realizing that if you had nothing else in the world, what do you have? You have yourself. You have you and you have your creator, right? And what I realized during COVID is, yeah, and I found all these other people that were online, that were into the awakening, you could say. And yeah, it just started to gel, started to learn more about how we are not our thoughts, realizing that we were all playing different frequencies, stress is a frequency, wealth is a frequency, and started to realize like energy is everything, right? And then now putting that into business, right, in different areas, whether it's marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's your content, whether it's ads, and just realizing like what energy or what feeling am I in when I'm doing this task, right? If I'm feeling anxious, that certain piece of content is going to feel anxious, going to push people away, right? But if there's love, if there's abundance, if I'm feeling grateful in that moment, and I do that piece of content, I'm enjoying it, I'm having fun with it, people are going to feel the same way. Yeah, so that's what I would say. How I've really tied the spiritual to business, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I didn't realize that business was a lot of fun before. I thought it was just like numbers, systems, KPIs. Because I grew up in the whole IT project management space, but now it's just all fun because it's not just business; it's energy that you're playing around with.
And how are you feeling right now in this episode?
I'm feeling quite calm, man, and very
Quite
talkative.
calm, very
Yes,
talkative. Is
yeah,
there good energies, nice positivity? This
yes,
episode
there
will
is.
go viral.
Yeah,
You feel it's
100%.
good?
I feel it,
Okay.
man.
I really like what you said and how you started. And I, when you said Dr. Joe Dispenza, and this is how you started the journey into spirituality and the curiosity of really understanding what's there and what's out there and what's inside of you, and you connect it to yourself. It's really interesting because I believe there's always an entry door, a trigger, something that will give us this spark that, okay, I want to know more. Tell me more. So you start somewhere. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, I don't know what. These all are mainstream things, but the true work that is being really done is you and yourself only. It's only the connection that you're building within. And also, it's really funny how COVID was a blessing in disguise. So basically, it was a very harsh pandemic. People were dying and all of that. However, at the same time, like you said, a lot of people got a massive awakening, and they were like in tuning into their inner selves. And when all this noise calmed down, the outside world was shut down, we were left with ourselves. And I truly love how you put it in context because it also happened to me.
It's beautiful.
So, in what ways do your spiritual practices enhance your effectiveness as a leader?
Yeah, I would say the main thing is just emotional intelligence. And why I say that is if you're able to really relate to whoever you're talking to, uh, and just understand on an intuitive level as well as an emotional level what someone's going through, I feel that's really key in any kind of communication. And
Okay.
yeah, like for me, like I'll share a story. So there was a time where I've worked with a lot of virtual assistants. Right now, I have an outsourcing company. I'm partnering up with this outsourcing company. He's a sales and marketing director. Uh, and before, I would always be like, oh, okay, this person, is just doing the work. But
Mhm.
now there's a relationship with the, VA, or relationship with the resource, also with, certain individuals that are part of that company. And you start to navigate these relationships in a way where you're not just looking at it from it's me and it's them, you're looking at it on how I can collaborate or how I can add value. So I started to look more on, just adding more value. And the work that I do at Presence as well, developing social development platforms and in that tech space as well, the Web3 industry is huge on that. It's huge on collaboration. It's huge on, okay, how do we make things ours in regards to decentralization and ownership. And in that sense, it's really helped me with my mindset on how I do business and how I relate with people.
But how can you link spiritual practices to Web3?
Mm. Yeah, if you really look at how Web3 is, its model is spiritual. And why I say that is because on the blockchain, you have certain blocks and you have ownership and you have sovereignty. In spirituality, you also have sovereignty, right? You get to choose who you believe in. You get to choose the person that you're being. You get to choose what you can do today and who you react to, who you respond to. And it's the same mentality in Web3, right? In Web3, you have that same sovereignty with decentralization and each
Mhm.
block and each project, tying to certain things. Obviously, there's gains, there's losses, there's all these different aspects, but the model's the same, right? If you look at the quote, as above, so below, right? Spirituality is like, obviously, you don't know it's infinite, right? It can go up to many levels. Same thing with Web3. It's actually from a spiritual level, right? Same with if you look at cells in your body. If you look at the cells in your body and like red blood cells and how they're structured, and then you zoom out, right? You look at ponds, right? And then you look at how ponds are structured, and then from ponds you look at planets, and then
Mhm.
from planets to solar systems. Is the model's there, right?
Exactly, yeah. I like the analogy and the examples that you gave us. Thank you for that. When you're coaching clients, how do you integrate these beliefs into your coaching sessions?
Yep. So with each coaching session I have with my clients, I always go from both an internal sense, right? First, because if the internal isn't working well, right? If I don't know, like something's happened to them, they're feeling really emotional about it internally. No matter what strategy or system that you're integrating with said client, it's not going to work out that way. So I always look at an internal state or what's going on in the mind, what's going on emotionally, what's going on spiritually. Are they congruent with themselves, right? As in, like, do they say certain things and actually do what they say, right? And then from there, then we look at the strategies. For example, how many calls have you had? What metrics are we keeping on track? Have you called this person? What about this event? What about this system with these paid ads or B2B email automation? Whatever it is,
So you
I
don't
look
really
at.
integrate spiritual practices or something for them to focus on or tackle.
I do. I give them firstly like visualization, right? That's one thing. And then also with each client that I work with, meditation and visualization and practice. And even a moment for them to just be aware of what's going on. Because, like, in business, especially, you're moving a million miles an hour, right? So I always give them an awareness exercise. So that exercise and that system allows them to, mentally prepare themselves for any meeting or any call going forward.
Were you prepared for this episode?
Here and there. There's some
Did you do
questions that threw
some
me off.
Did
Yeah,
you
a
do
little bit
some
of research.
visualization?
Yes, I did.
Okay, nice. Before hopping into marketing aspects, uh, Kanji, what is your drive? What is your mission? What really drives Kanji forward?
Mm. I feel like my drive's really changed over the years, Carl. I feel at the beginning it was more so the freedom of choice, right? Not being stuck to certain social norms, and being able to choose and have that sovereignty in my life. Um, And then it moved to obviously parents. Like that's been obviously a huge factor for me. So my mom's my biggest supporter, and I really want to give back to her. She's just been there from day one, and it's really helped me to get to where I am in business right now. But I feel like it's gone beyond that in regards to my purpose and drive. And I feel like it's from when I was feeling shy and feeling like I couldn't speak to now being in a position to be like, what will you be if you your authentic version of yourself, the most authentic version of yourself, where you're able to put yourself out there, right? And there's no filter, and you're just shining, you're just in your element, and you're the best version you can possibly imagine. And I feel like that's been the latest drive as of late. Just really expressing yourself fully and authentically in your own space and being on that stage of life. I feel like that's what's really driven me, especially in this moment. And obviously, those things are still there, but this has been the main push or the main driving force for everything that I do, from personal to business.
I love that. Thank you for sharing it. Moving a bit towards marketing, so I'm interested to know what innovative marketing strategies have proven most effective in scaling businesses in the tech sector.
In the tech sector. Yeah, so there's been a few things. Like obviously AI has been a massive game changer in the marketing space. Like I feel there will be a lot of use. I think currently, especially, is the AI chatbots,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the marketing space. Obviously there's certain softwares that are out there that allow you to create AI chatbots that can interact with people when you're not there or when you're idle. So that's the first thing that I see. The second thing that I see in regards to, especially the email and I would say paid advertising is a lot more automation, right? Because obviously email, you've got to like put a little bit of strategy behind your email automations, but I feel like that will be more generative in the sense
Mm-hmm.
that there will be a lot more innovations to craft out email messages on your behalf with your own GPT or your own voice, and
Mm-hmm.
then you then have that automation on the back end to send out to your clients. And I also feel as well like there'll be more insights in regards to data, right, and data analytics. And I feel like that's where the juice of all projects come from, especially in the tech space, is data. What we're really doing, if you look at all social media platforms right now, they're all based on data, right? They're all trading in data, right? Obviously Facebook has got a lot of data from people, right? And that's the main source of everything is data. It's like, how can we use this data through AI, through the blockchain, and make it both secure and interoperable as well, and allow people to maximize the efficiencies of that technology going forward. So I feel like those are the three main shifts
Okay.
currently.
And do you think we will be able to reach a place where emails, like you were just mentioning, email marketing will be fully automated and run by an AI that is sending you emails based on your behavior, on your interest, and all of that?
I feel like it would. There will be a point where it might be just a click on a button, or it might just be a word prompt. But again, it's still missing that human element. And I feel like that's where we come in. We still
Hmm.
have to have that human element in AI. Obviously, we'll get to the point maybe 5 to 10 years.
So, are you
Um,
afraid that businesses and especially the tech industry will be run by AI and it will be like pretty much inhumane?
I'm not afraid, man. I feel like we all have a place, and I feel like, yeah, I don't know really like where things will go, but what I do predict is what we can do in this moment is to leverage the tools that we do have, because we're still a part of the whole ecosystem, and it hasn't really taken off just as yet. We're still quite early to to the AI space and the industry.
But AI
It's
is
still
not new. Mass adoption is new.
mass
Yeah.
adoption. Yeah, correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
AI
that's
has
right.
been there for more than 10 years, and all the big
Mm,
companies and corporations were using it, from
mm.
the Facebook ads to the Google.
Yep,
So,
true,
yeah,
true.
it's there.
Mm,
Kenji, how do you adapt these strategies that we were just talking about for different industries and cultural contexts?
mm. So with any strategy, it's moldable, and obviously, right, with what we talked about in regards to, we'll take AI with email, for example, right, and how do we adopt that to multiple different industries. The tone has to change, right? So obviously, with the AI, it needs to have a different tone or an input, because what you put in is what you get out with AI, right? So with each industry, would have to reflect that, right? So with real estate, it would be the same. I would also say with real estate, it might be a little bit more complex, because with real estate, there's a lot of dealings in regards to paper, and transactions. With manufacturing, for example, I think they've leveraged AI quite a bit. Things like QBots, sit and machinery, right? They all have these different AI technologies that are inbuilt in them. So in regards to the strategies of marketing and how manufacturers can market, yeah, it's just leveraging you know those systems, because probably majority of manufacturers, they don't actually have these email systems. Like you said, mass adoption, right? So I feel like just slowly learning about the culture of how we can use these tools, changing the culture from the top level to the bottom level, and then in regards to worldwide and how each country can adopt it. Again, it's just education. Why Web3 and AI still has a bit of a stigma behind it is because we're not educated on it. So we need people like yourself and myself, especially in the industry, to teach, right? To teach what it actually is and how you can use it, and how your company can benefit from it, and how it can leave a lasting impact.
Exactly. And I know that there's a lot of awareness work to be done as well, because, yeah, everyone knows AI and they have heard about it and they use ChatGPT or I don't know what, but
Mm,
they're not really grasping the essence or the how it really works.
mm,
And yeah, it's gonna take over and all of that, but they're not understanding the language model, from where it's operating, uh, how is it really generating all these answers.
mm,
And yeah, it's basically getting them from a pool of data that is somewhere, either crawling on the web or being fed from a specific data center. But at the end of the day, we still have control over AI. But
mm,
how you use it and how you utilize it as a human being, either you're gonna put it to your benefit and for the benefit of the whole human race, or you're gonna start scamming people and spamming them and using
mm,
it for the wrong doing.
mm,
So it's always our choice. It's always us humans who are running the scenarios at the end of the day, and we're affecting the generations to come. Kenji, what is the biggest challenge that you faced in marketing solutions and how did you overcome it?
mm. The biggest challenge I had in marketing solutions, I would say, would be to get a grip of the actual algorithm. Just like with any marketer, it's just like, oh, how do we keep up with the trends? Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, X. I feel like that is still a big challenge for not just myself, but many other people that are in the space. And I feel like it's like you just have to keep learning. I think that's the only way you can really adapt to these trends, is just be on top of it. Like for me, I know all the trends start from TikTok first and then they trickle down. So I'd always go to TikTok first and learn what the new trend is. So, like for example,
All
um,
the trends?
majority of. Majority of trends.
Depends on the industry and the
Yeah.
country and all of that, right?
Mm.
Not all
Yeah,
of
that's
them
true.
start through
Not all of them.
TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah, true, true. I think that's a generalization, but yeah.
Okay, I got your point. So you start the
Yeah.
search in there, and then what?
Yes. Yeah. So, like for example, the latest trending song is APT by Rose and Bruno Mars, right?
Okay.
That came from TikTok first, and then now Instagram's adopted, and now Facebook's adopted, and even LinkedIn. There's a few individuals that know that song because it's just played, you know, worldwide.
It's crazy
So
how LinkedIn is shifting to a video platform,
yeah,
by the way.
hundred
Yeah,
percent. Yeah. So it really comes down to like again the biggest challenge is like how do we know what trend and I feel like we just have to really come back to us being the trend, right? Because there's 8 billion different fingerprints, right? We're all unique. We all have a different say. We all have a different opinion, a different perspective in life, a different experience. It's like I don't know what your experience is, Carl, right? And I don't know any of the other viewers' experience, and you guys don't know my experience. But the thing that makes us trendy and unique is our experience. So how do we showcase that, right? And I feel like that will really change how people view trends. It's not that how do we adapt to the trend that's currently out there, whether it's TikTok, etc., but how do we make ourselves a trend? How do we stand out as, again, coming back to that expression,
which one?
your own expression?
And so, how do you make the trend relevant, and how do we become the trend, Kenji? Tell me more about that.
Mm. So I would say it's just to continue speaking and holding your vibration. That's how you become the trends. Like, for example, for me, I'll share an example. So 2 years ago, I did some Facebook Reels, and like it was completely different content to what I do now, which is like business and talking about business and quotes and all that. But it was pretty much relatable spiritual practices. So, like for example, I would be sitting down, right, and there'd be a voiceover. I don't know if you know there's like an Indian guy that's speaking. So
Mm-hmm.
just be me sitting there, and then there's caption, and then him speaking over it. And then there'd be other ones where I don't know, like what it looks like when you're in thought every day, right? And it would just be like certain different things and certain different voices that are there, and I would use that as a trend. But how I acted it out, right? That was my unique acting or expression, and I feel like the way to really hone in and be the trend is to really own yourself and own your voice. And a lot of the time, as a content creator, we don't do that. We try to use other people's voice to say what we want to say. And that's where we lose the essence. We lose our own essence by, copying someone else or copying someone else's way of expression.
I really like what you're saying, Kenji, because these are basically the fundamentals of marketing, and nowadays we tend to really neglect them, or no one is really focusing on the brand essence, the tone of voice, the messaging, even the persona, if it's a person or a brand or a business. How does it conduct itself online, offline, and what are the archetypes that this person or this brand operate under? So it's really fundamental to not hop onto anything that is in hype and use it just as is, reinterpret it, recreate it, but do it in your own voice and messaging and in your own way, because like you said, everyone is special. Moving a bit towards business, what emerging trends in AI are you currently exploring to enhance your coaching services? So I know you were talking about bots and all of that, but what else?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm really delving into how I can create GPTs for my clients. So, for example, I would grab a certain brand and grab all their details, or whether it's their colors, their voice. how they would speak, and then I would chuck that in to the language model, and then it will spit it out in certain ways. And then from that, I would put in prompts to come out with a plan, like a business development plan, a branding plan. And I feel like in this moment, like, is like you said, it's just a lot of people are not really tapping into that. They're just tapping into the superficial level of like, oh, like, well, if I have 10 content ideas on business development, give me that, right? Or just going through a formula like, exemplar or form or whatever, and they just go through that format without actually really thinking about what they can actually do in a practical sense. So that's what I'm really playing around with at the moment. Just like, how do I create GPTs for my clients? And then tailoring that to all the output. So, for example, like the ads that are running for clients, the email marketing campaigns that I'm doing for clients. And from there, just really tailoring even my keynote speeches as well, right? So anything I do with speaking as well, Carl, obviously I have my own brand in that GPT, and I'm able to get it to write certain things about a certain topic based on Kanji Low as the GPT or as the profile. So that's what I'm playing around with at the moment. So that's something that I would love for people to start doing a lot more in their business, especially in the marketing space. And I'm also playing around with AI in regards to creating a social development platform or a gamified platform where we are really looking at interactions, because like AI at the end of the day is just automation of a process, right? So right now with the coaching, right, we have a funnel. Yeah, so majority of us have a funnel. When we have traffic, that traffic goes to a funnel. That funnel goes into your offer, whether it's a call or whether it's a lead magnet, right? And then from that, they then book in and they want to work with you. You might send them to a community. They might send you to a one-on-one session. What I want to do and what I'm creating with my team at Presence is we're creating interactions between that funnel level. So, for example, from traffic, how do we monetize your training videos? How do we monetize messages or even podcasts like this, like in real time? And using that data to then create an AI on what actually hits in regards to trends. So like, for example, are people wanting to learn more about business? Other people wanting to learn more about blockchain, on wealth, on spirituality, for example. So just using this interaction and these social interactions, you could say, as a way of ownership for your content and your trainings and what you do. So that's what I'm really integrating with my own
And
coaching.
customization is
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Customization of those interactions as
it's
well.
it's a unique interaction based
Yeah.
on unique journeys and behaviors, right?
100%. Yeah.
I
So that's
like
what
it.
that's
I'm
what I'm
really
doing.
interested to know more about that once you have an MVP or a prototype or
Sure.
something, a beta
Yep.
version.
Mm.
I'm here to try it out
Okay. Sounds good.
because, yeah, my team and I were also working on an AI model that will be at scale for agencies and
Mm.
helping all the marketing agencies in their operations. And it's basically we're centralizing all the work, all the flow, the internal and the external communication and
Mm.
workflow at the same time
Very
in
nice.
one hub. So,
Mm.
yeah, that would be really interesting to get some insights on. Thank you, Kanji, for sharing it. Now, going to blockchain. So, did it influence you in any way in your business strategy and development?
Yeah. So I feel with anything, it's always tying into our personal development, right? So when I looked at my first blockchain or Web3 event, that was back in 2022. I rocked up with my business partner and we were just like, okay, we're just going to try and see if we can network with a lot of people in Web3. And there was this event. And from that moment, I started to realize the power of collaboration and the power of networking in not just in the sense of, oh, I'm connecting with this person and exchange LinkedIn's, and that's pretty much it. But it's just more like genuine win-win situations where how can I plug into your business and how can you plug into my business, and is there any
100%.
synergy there? So
That's all what I'm doing recently, by the way. I love it. Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Yeah. So from that first event to the next event to the next event, I started to realize the power of the blockchain in the community aspect, right? Realizing that, oh, how I can actually bring these values in regards to collaboration, to coaching, to my business, to marketing, and not just that, but also the technical elements. So we've had a lot of iterations of presence. And one of the iterations was pretty much having videos on the blockchain, right? And obviously there's certain blockchains that are out there that do that, right? And it's called Social 5, by the way. But it's or Web3 social. But now it's to the point where things have changed again. It's like, how do we do it on a coaching level? How do we do it on a mentoring level? How do I get experts and you know have this ownership of this interaction that I have with this mentor, or this ownership that I have with the interaction with this coach? And that's what we're really playing around with, and that's what I love about the development of where my coaching is at the moment, is because I can be my own guinea pig to the project. And I'm finding that we really don't own anything. So what does Web3 and blockchain do? It gives us another level of ownership where I actually own something, right, on a digital level, right? So imagine having a relationship with a coach,
On an
right?
encrypted level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, encrypted and own level. So it's like we're taking things to the another level in regards to the blockchain, which I find very fascinating. And obviously, I'm still working through the crux of it.
So you're doing a lot of things, Kenji. And to sum it up, what do you do? Like, I know you have your own venture, you're also employed, like, you're juggling between, I
Mm,
don't know how many things. Give us, like, just what exactly are you doing? What are the companies? And what is your role in it?
sure. So I'm a multiple business owner. I'm gonna keep it simple because like there's so much going on, right?
Let's name them
Yep.
one by
So I'm a
one.
multiple business owner. I'm the owner of Service Collective, which is a B2B AI marketing agency, tailoring consultants. I'm a sales and marketing director for Goodland BPO, and we're an outsourcing company purely servicing accounting firms and helping them get compliance rates of 90% or higher. And I'm also a COO and co-founder of Presence, which is a gamified growth platform that ties in AI and blockchain in the sense of allowing social interactions between everyday users and experts.
Lovely. And you're gonna stay employed till when?
We'll see, man. If something else calls for me, I'll join that. But yeah, I feel like how I've really looked at things, Carl, is like how can I add value to humanity, right? And I feel like if the next project's drawing me, I'll plug in as maybe an advisor. And I feel like that's the ultimate level of business, is like being on the advisory board and really just directing the people to actually do the work. And that's what I found. That's where a lot of the people are, like especially in the top
That's your
echelons of
true.
business.
This is your true drive, Kenji. Now
Is it?
you. Now we tapped into it. Now we tapped into it. Last question before the fire segment. So you are currently employed, right? You have an employment in a company, and you're running your businesses on the side, right?
Correct. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Why are you still doing that? And would you advise solopreneurs and entrepreneurs to remain employed while building
Uh,
their
yep.
startups?
Yeah. So before I was employed as a sales and marketing director, Carl, I actually started the hard way, jumping into business and being let go of from my company, and jumping right in. And I do not advise that to anyone. And obviously, everyone's path is different. Some people might need to do that to change their reality or to have a paradigm shift. Other people, I would say, have that job. And if your business is making 2 or 3x of what your employment is giving you, then start moving. And it's not a problem to do multiple things. I think I shared it with a lady at a meetup event a few weeks back. She was like, "Oh, Kenji, like I'm just transitioning from being a data analyst to doing this." I'm like, "You don't have to do one thing. You can do your yoga. You can still teach yoga. You can still be a data analyst. You can still be a parent. You can still do this. Obviously, the parents are given, right? But there's multiple things that you can do, right? So I feel that's the new wave of where I don't know
But
if
can you
you
level
see
up?
that.
But can you really have all the energy to juggle between all of these things, stay focused, be productive, and be uh, time efficient? We only have 24 hours, man.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there will be a point that it might require all of your attention, and you might need to let a few things go. But if you really look at it, look at Elon Musk, for example, right? He gambled on two projects, Tesla and SpaceX, when he sold his PayPal shares, right? He didn't give up that one thing for another thing, or he didn't just focus on one thing. He did two things at one time. And we can level up in that capacity as well. So, yeah, I would say that that's something to explore. Like it might not be for you. I'm not saying that you can do that. I'm saying that everyone's different, and you being different, you know what to do and what not to do. For me, in this moment in time, I can manage three things. For other people, it might not be the thing. It might just be the one thing, and it's totally up to you as well.
That's awesome. And yeah, indeed, there's no one solution fits all. Everyone should create their own suitable solution.
100%.
Hopping into the fire questions. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
Coffee or tea for productivity?
Coffee,
Read the book or listen to the audiobook?
audiobook,
Morning meditation or evening meditation?
morning,
In house team or outsource?
outsource. I'm a little bit biased.
Scale, quick, scale quickly or grow steadily?
Grow steadily.
Cold wallet or in wall safe?
Ooh, this is a very good. Cold wallet,
Leadership style, commanding or collaborative?
collaborative,
Crypto investment, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum,
Best way to unwind, a quiet evening or a lively gathering?
quiet evening,
Side hustle or full on entrepreneurship?
full on entrepreneurship. Go and do it.
Amazing. Thanks so much for sharing this, Kenji. So, for the listeners that are eager to engage with your work and seek personal coaching, where can they connect with you?
Yeah, you can contact me on LinkedIn. So it'll be Kanji underscore or Kanji space or hyphen low. You can catch me there. And yeah, that's where I'm most active.
We're gonna put your details in the description as well. Thank you so much, Kenji, for being here, for sharing your journey with us. It was a pleasure to connect with you and to host you on this episode. Thanks so much,
Yep.
and I wish you well.
Yep. Thank you so much, Carl. Thank you.